The murder of Viktor Gunnarsson in Watauga County, North Carolina, in 1993, and the related killing of Catherine Miller is a complex case that intertwines international intrigue, a love triangle, and a jealous former police officer. Below is a detailed account of the case, drawn from credible sources, including newspaper reports and other reliable documentation available from the web, to provide a comprehensive overview of the investigation and its resolution. Background: Viktor Gunnarsson and his past. Viktor Gunnarsson, a 40-year-old Swedish national, had a controversial history tied to the 1986 assassination of Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme. On February 28, 1986, Palme was shot dead while exiting a movie theater in Stockholm with his wife, Lisbet, who was injured but survived. Gunnarsson, labeled a right-wing extremist, became a suspect due to his vocal anti-Palme rhetoric in a bar near the crime scene that night. He was detained and questioned by Stockholm police, but was released due to insufficient evidence, primarily after a witness's identification weakened. Despite his release, Gunnarsson faced significant public suspicion in Sweden, with even extremist groups like the European Labour Party disowning him, calling him a savage beast. Facing harassment, he emigrated to the United States in the early 1990s, settling in Salisbury, North Carolina, where he worked as a language tutor and lived in a modest apartment. To reinvent himself, Gunnarsson fabricated stories, claiming to be an FBI agent or a film director to impress others, particularly women. The murders, a timeline of events. November-December 1993. The love triangle. In November 1993, Gunnarsson met Kay Whedon, a single mother and English teacher, through a mutual friend at a local coffee shop in Salisbury. The two quickly developed a romantic connection. On December 3, 1993, Gunnarsson dined at Whedon's home with her and her 77-year-old mother, Catherine Miller. The evening was reportedly pleasant, and the couple planned to go Christmas tree shopping together soon after. However, Gunnarsson failed to show up for the planned outing, and on December 5th, Whedon visited his apartment, finding the door ajar in the cold weather but no sign of him. She initially believed he had abruptly ended their relationship. Meanwhile, in Sweden, Gunnarsson's friend Daniel Johansson and his parents grew concerned when they couldn't contact him. On December 9, 1993, Catherine Miller was found shot to death in her home at 120 Larch Road, Salisbury. She had been killed with 2.38 caliber bullets to the head, and there were no signs of forced entry, suggesting she knew her killer. The murder shocked the community, and Whedon, devastated, tried to contact Gunnarsson for support, only to realize he had been missing for days. His landlord reported him missing on December 15, 1993. January 7, 1994. Discovery of Gunnarsson's body. On January 7, 1994, a North Carolina Department of Transportation surveyor discovered a nearly naked body in a snowy, wooded area near Deep Gap, Watauga County, approximately 86 miles from Salisbury. The body, wearing only a watch and a signet ring, had been there for weeks, partially mutilated by animals. The victim had been shot twice in the head with a .22 caliber firearm, and the chief medical examiner determined the cause of death as gunshot wounds to the temple and neck. Fingerprints sent from Interpol confirmed the body as Viktor Gunnarsson's. The remote location and the stripping of the body led police to initially suspect a professional hit, possibly tied to Gunnarsson's past in Sweden. The investigation, unraveling a local motive. Initial suspicions and international attention. Gunnarsson's history as a suspect in the Palme assassination drew international media attention, with Swedish press speculating about a possible connection to his murder. However, investigators in Watauga and Rowan counties soon focused on a more local motive, a love triangle involving Kay Whedon and her ex-fiancé Lamont Claxton, L.C. Underwood, a retired Salisbury police officer. Underwood, who had been a school resource officer at West Rowan High School, where Whedon taught, had a tumultuous relationship with her that ended in December 1993. He was known for obsessive behavior, having stalked Whedon after their breakup, confronting her in public, and even pouring iced tea on her during one incident. Whedon also received threatening letters after ending the relationship. which were later linked to a typewriter ribbon found in Underwood's home. On the night of December 3, 1993, witnesses, including Whedon's son Jason and a woman named Shirley Scott, who was with Underwood, reported seeing Underwood drive by Whedon's house multiple times, noting Gunnarsson's car parked there. Underwood called a police friend, Rick Hillard, at 11:30 p.m. to check the license plate of a vehicle registered to Gunnarsson, confirming his identity. Key evidence against Underwood. The investigation, spanning Watauga and Rowan counties and involving the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, SBI, uncovered substantial evidence pointing to Underwood. Forensic evidence. Hair found in the trunk of Underwood's 1979 Monte Carlo was microscopically consistent with Gunnarsson's, and mitochondrial DNA analysis, a novel technology, at the time confirmed a match. This was reportedly the first case in North Carolina where mitochondrial DNA evidence was admitted in court. Physical evidence. A search of Underwood's home on February 1, 1994, yielded over 50 items, including a .22 caliber revolver, a .22 caliber rifle, gun cleaning kits, and black electrical tape similar to that used to gag Gunnarsson. Behavioral evidence. Underwood's history of stalking Whedon and other former partners was well documented. He had also expressed hostility toward Catherine Miller, telling Whedon on December 6, 1993, that her mother had ruined their relationship and that he wished harm on her. Circumstantial evidence. Underwood had his car, including the trunk carpet, thoroughly cleaned in December 1993 or January 1994, suggesting an attempt to remove evidence. Investigators theorized that Underwood, driven by jealousy, kidnapped Gunnarsson from his apartment on December 3, 1993, found him, transported him to Deep Gap, and shot him. They also suspected Underwood in Miller's murder, believing he killed her to hurt Whedon further, but chose not to prosecute this case to avoid jeopardizing the Gunnarsson conviction. The trial and conviction. Underwood was arrested on October 12, 1995, and indicted for first-degree kidnapping and first-degree murder of Gunnarsson. His trial began in Watauga County Superior Court in June 1997, prosecuted by District Attorney Tom Rusher and Assistant District Attorney Gerald Wilson. The prosecution argued that Underwood's jealousy and obsession with Whedon drove him to eliminate Gunnarsson, a romantic rival, and possibly Miller, whom he saw as an obstacle. Key testimony included scientific evidence. FBI experts confirmed the mitochondrial DNA match between hairs in Underwood's trunk and Gunnarsson. Witness testimony. Shirley Scott and Jason Whedon confirmed Underwood's suspicious behavior on December 3, 1993. Rick Hillard testified about Underwood's license plate inquiry. Motive. Prosecutors highlighted Underwood's pattern of stalking and his inability to accept Whedon's rejection. In July 1997, the jury found Underwood guilty of first-degree kidnapping and murder, sentencing him to life in prison plus 40 years, opting against the death penalty. He was not charged in Miller's murder due to concerns about jeopardizing the Gunnarsson case, though investigators believed he was responsible. Post-conviction developments. In January 2010, Underwood was granted a new trial by a U.S. District Court judge, citing ineffective counsel. However, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit overturned this decision in January 2011, ruling that the evidence against Underwood was overwhelming, rendering any counsel deficiencies immaterial. Underwood remained incarcerated at Marion Correctional Institution until his death from natural causes on December 23, 2018, at age 67. Media coverage and legacy. The case garnered significant attention in 1994 due to Gunnarsson's connection to the Palme assassination, with outlets like the Watauga Democrat and Salisbury Post providing extensive coverage. The Watauga Democrat reported on January 17, 1994, about the identification of Gunnarsson's body and the initial suspicions of an international conspiracy. Later articles detailed the investigation's shift to Underwood and the forensic breakthroughs, such as the mitochondrial DNA evidence. The case was featured in media like Forensic Files, To the Victor, Season 10, Episode 39, and The New Detectives, Cold-Blooded, emphasizing its complexity and the use of emerging forensic technology. Critical analysis. While the evidence against Underwood was compelling, the case raises questions about the decision not to prosecute Miller's murder, potentially leaving a second crime unresolved. The international angle, while initially sensationalized, was likely overstated, as the motive appeared rooted in personal jealousy rather than political conspiracy. The use of mitochondrial DNA marked a significant advancement in forensic science, setting a precedent for future cases in North Carolina. However, Underwood's claims of innocence and the 2010 appeal suggest lingering doubts about legal representation, though the appellate court's ruling reaffirmed the strength of the prosecution's case. Conclusion. The murders of Viktor Gunnarsson and Catherine Miller, though initially shrouded in international intrigue, were ultimately a tragic outcome of a personal vendetta. Lamont C. Underwood, a retired police officer consumed by jealousy, was convicted of kidnapping and killing Gunnarsson and strongly suspected in Miller's death. Through diligent investigation, forensic innovation, and multi-jurisdictional cooperation, authorities brought justice for Gunnarsson, though Miller's case remains officially unsolved. The case remains a notable chapter in North Carolina's criminal history, blending local drama with global echoes.